going after Jimmy Kimmel after the late-night host mocked her in a parody that aired Thursday before the horrific turn of events that unfolded Saturday night at the dinner. He called her, get this, an expectant widow, as if to say her husband had been murdered, assassinated, and this is the woman left behind.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Down, stay down, stay down. Stay down.
Pandemonium has erupted after a security incident in which we saw Secret Service and other forms of security rush into the room after what now appear to be reports of shots being fired.
So Trump just ordered for Jimmy Kimmel's arrest after he was linked to the White House shooters extremist group. Turns out after his arrest, the authorities dug into Cole Allen's background and they found scathing evidence linking him back to Jimmy Kimmel. We're talking texts, videos, and much more, proving that Jimmy plotted with the shooter. Naturally, Trump called for ABC to fire Jimmy, but according to sources close to the White House, he's working on an arrest as well. Of course, Jimmy's denying everything.
It was not by any stretch of the definition a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence in particular, but I understand that the First Lady had a stressful experience over the weekend, and probably every weekend is pretty stressful in that house.
But there's just one problem. The evidence says otherwise. It all started with Kimmel doing a sketch on April 24th on his show where he pretended to be the comedian from the correspondence dinner. It was all fun and games until he commented on the First Lady.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
The internet laughed it off as a lighthearted joke at first, but then 3 days later, a gunman opened fire at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington, D.C., which Donald Trump attended with Melania.
Down, stay down, stay down. Stay down.
Pandemonium has erupted after a security incident in which we saw Secret Service and other forms of security rush into the room after what now appear to be reports of shots being fired.
According to the authorities, the gunman's attack may have targeted members of the Trump administration. Thankfully, Trump and Melania were evacuated unharmed from the gala dinner. A Secret Service agent was shot, but not seriously wounded during the attack. Authorities were able to catch the culprit, who was identified as 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen. He's been charged with attempting to assassinate U.S. President Donald Trump and 2 POW offenses, since he was carrying a semi-automatic handgun, a pump-action shotgun, and 3 knives. As for the motive, well, the authorities don't have one right now. Cole's reportedly not cooperating with the authorities. However, what they do know is that he sent an email to his family shortly before the attack that said, "Administration officials are targets, prioritized from highest ranking to lowest. I would still go through most everyone here to get to the targets if it were absolutely necessary." As of now, the authorities are not sure what Cole meant by this message, but the text does confirm that Cole was working as part of a group. Now, this is where things get interesting. Apparently, this is the same group that Kimmel's been allegedly tied to, according to sources close to the White House. To make things worse, in the aftermath of the chaos, Jimmy's joke about Melania Trump becoming a widow became front-page news. Given the timeline of the events, no one thought it was a coincidence. Kimmel and all the rest of the deranged left should be held accountable for Cole Allen. Surprisingly, Melania didn't waste a second to jump online and openly accuse Kimmel of orchestrating the hit on Trump. She wanted ABC to fire him immediately. Kimmel's hateful and violent rhetoric is intended to divide our country. His monologue about my family isn't comedy. His words are corrosive and deepens the political sickness within America. People like Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening to spread hate. A coward, Kimmel hides behind ABC because he knows the network will keep running cover to protect him. Enough is enough. It is time for ABC to take a stand. How many times will ABC's leadership enable Kimmel's atrocious behavior at the expense of our community? Trump called out Jimmy as well and asked for his immediate dismissal. He also disapproved of the fake video Kimmel showed where it looked like Melania and their son Barron Trump were sitting in the studio of the show listening to him.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
The craziest part? Trump drew a direct connection between Kimmel's monologue and the White House shooting. The next day, a lunatic attempted to enter the White House Correspondents' Dinner Hall, armed with a shotgun, a pistol, and numerous knives. He was there for a very obvious and sinister reason. It's like he wanted everyone to know the evidence he was sitting on. On top of that, Trump made it clear that he's not playing about the situation. He wrote down his demands in clear words. Jimmy Kimmel should be fired immediately by Disney and ABC. Now, a lot of people seem to be backing up Trump on this.
I am so deeply appreciative for the First Lady using her platform to take this stand and say enough is enough. And we've heard from her now a few times recently where she has absolutely drawn the line and called out these institutions and the epidemic of accusations and falsities and downright unacceptable language and concepts that are being floated and amplified by these storied institutions like ABC.
Of course, Jimmy's not taking any of the criticism lying down. He responded to the call-outs from the Trump family.
You know how sometimes you wake up in the morning and the First Lady puts out a statement demanding you be fired from your job? We've all been there, right?
He explained why he made the joke in the first place.
So on Thursday, 3 days before the event, in order to keep that cherished tradition alive, I did my own version of the Correspondents' Dinner on my show. I put on a tuxedo. We pretended we had an audience of luminaries. We used old footage of the Trumps, of Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, Kid Rock, Vanilla Ice, all the members of his cabinet. And we made it seem like they were all together in a room. We had a little roast. Again, this was Thursday, and there was no big reaction to it until this morning when I greeted the day facing yet another Twitter vomit storm. And a call to fire me from our First Lady, Melania Trump. Obviously was a joke about their age difference and the look of joy we see on her face every time they're together. It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am.
What's more, he made it clear that his joke was not a call to violence, nor was it intended to be one.
It was not by any stretch of the definition a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence in particular, but I understand that the First Lady had a stressful experience over the weekend, and probably every weekend is pretty stressful in that house.
He also took shots at White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, saying that while we're on the topic, the White House should look into her comments as well.
But if you want us to believe that a joke I made 3 days before this dinner had any effect on anything that happened, well, then maybe someone should look into this psychic lady too.
This speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny, it'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room.
You know what?
And so at the end of the day, Kimmel's only sin was making a bad joke, at least according to him. But even if that's true, a lot of people want him fired.
So we are seeing this ecosystem, the permissive ecosystem within that journalism is also rewarding these people's behavior. So he can put the award on his wall, but I hope he also puts an admonishment and his termination letter, which should follow.
Why? Because this is not the first time Kimmel has landed in trouble for his jokes. Back in September 2025, ABC had to briefly suspend his show after Kimmel's comments about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk under pressure from the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, Brendan Carr.
Jimmy Kimmel does not seem to be able to learn his lesson. He was suspended for a week, September of 2025, because of those comments he made about the murder of Charlie Kirk. Here we go again with more inappropriate comments from Jimmy Kimmel. And, you know, I remember at the time, FCC Chair Brendan Carr came out and he said, this is disgusting. He was one of the leads and said that ABC needs to make a decision about Jimmy Kimmel and maybe fire him.
The show was reinstated less than a week later, following a wave of public support and a letter signed by over 400 celebrities. And even this time around, some people are still defending Kimmel. There's George Clooney, for one. He said Jimmy's a comedian, and he brought up the comments by White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt as well, saying, I would argue that Caroline Leavitt didn't mean shots should be fired. She was making a joke. Fair enough. You look at that side and go, well, jokes are jokes. But Clooney's words don't matter in the face of an order from Trump. At the end of the day, Kimmel's in a lot of trouble. Given the timing of his joke, all eyes are on him. There's shady evidence linking him to the crime as well. But according to sources close to Trump, the administration is going to leak the proof soon too. The only question is, will Jimmy be able to defend himself then? Or is he going to end up sharing a cell with Cole?